Hey guys,
Hey guys.
we are finally on the internet. Tonight's been a heck of a thing. Started with a near hit and run on my car at dinner, and then a blue screen when we were about ready to hit the start button. So,
But we're here.
yes, we have notes aplenty tonight, and hopefully we can get through them. Because
Relatively succinctly.
yes,
Alright. Episode 41, A Pirate's Life for Me.
also probably my fifth favorite episode title, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. When I first saw the title, I think I put it at number 3, but I don't think that's true. I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, of course, but
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Well, I think you have your notes are probably the best way to go through the episode.
Okay.
And that's to go through and I basically at dinner I was trying to break it down. I was like, the episode basically was before Travis got there, the RP before the piracy, the RP after the piracy, and then Dark Toe. That's basically the 4 major beats of the episode. So we have
although there were some things in the piracy we need to touch on too.
Yeah.
Technically 5. You split it before and after.
okay.
Excluding the during.
Yes. Before the piracy. Well, so we had the Caleb and Clay combo.
Caleb and Clay.
And arguably the largest mechanical change of the episode.
Yeah.
Because he gave the Caduceus the parapet of wound closure.
Yeah. And that was surprising to me.
Really?
I did not expect that. I mean,
well,
mechanically, from a meta standpoint, yes, he keeps going down, and he's a healer. But it almost kind of goes against him.
Well, I can't say. I wasn't expecting. I thought it was a good moment between the two of them.
Yeah.
But I think Caleb explained himself well. I thought.
Yeah.
I think and this also plays into the conversation between Ford and Caleb later.
Yeah, and I have my own connection between those two. Centering around
the Caduceus and Caleb combo.
This and the Caleb Ford.
Okay. Because my thing, basically, what reinforces the fact that Caleb doesn't feel he needs that anymore is reinforced later when he's talking to Ford.
Okay.
And because Ford says, "You were kind of timid," and he's like, "Well, yeah, I've been sort of feeling myself lately," and I think that's one of the reasons why he felt it okay to give that up to Caduceus.
Okay.
And also because, Caduceus is the one keeping them alive now.
And see, I took it in conjunction with the Ford Caleb talk and you had mentioned it may be subconscious even on Liam's part, let alone Caleb's, but vie for leadership. First off,
he's buying loyalty.
Caduceus is the crux.
Yeah, that's true too. I hadn't thought of it in those terms.
And he's like, I need to get, and especially given his, the talks he's had with Ford lately about, hey, really, what's going on here? What is this?
Yeah.
I will drop you if you're going to do something that's going to, he's kind of making sure that Caduceus is going to wind up on his side. And then later on, he makes a vie for leadership with Ford.
Yeah, that ties into what we were talking about last episode.
And I think he's slowly, and I said it before, he's kind of slowly going to the instinctive in how he was trained with Ickathon, and he's slowly growing into that.
I had not considered that it may have been a cold, calculated move. But yeah,
that was my take. So could be either. I don't think it was necessarily cold, calculated. I'm trying to get the leadership. I think he is, and you said it best. It's subconscious. He's subconsciously falling into that leadership, manipulation, lawful evil role.
Yeah.
As he's becoming comfortable with these people. That's why he used the suggestion on not.
Yeah.
That's why he does these things. Because he's used to just manipulating people magically, which we'll touch on later too for another point.
Okay.
Just the manipulation aspect.
Okay. I don't think there was any other major. Well, we had the Knot and Jester interaction.
We learned her first kiss was.
Finish your thought, but I have an addendum to this.
Okay.
Finish your thought.
She says she leads not to believe. Her first kiss is Ford giving her oxygen.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a total lie. I think it was
and
her.
See, here, that's funny because now our roles are reversed. I'm taking her at face value, and you're reading into her.
Yeah.
Exactly the opposite of what we normally do.
Yeah. But I think she meant that was their first kiss.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that very easily. Or the first kiss to her that meant anything.
Yes.
I see that more than. Well, I mean, yes, it was their first kiss, but more than her alluding to it as that.
Yeah. But I don't think it's a case of that she's never kissed a boy.
Right.
I think she flirted a lot. She flirted with Ford, heavily flirted with Ford from the very beginning. And that's been a big part of her. And Laura has said that that's just how Jester relates to everybody.
Right.
I don't think somebody who relates that way to people never expresses, never kisses.
It may have never been an invited kiss.
There's that, and there's also that she never wanted to be kissed.
Yeah.
As much as she does with Ford.
Right.
So I think there's a lot bound up in it, but I don't think that it was her first kiss ever.
Okay.
Even though that's how Sam played it out. And it made for a great interaction, but yeah, I don't think that's the case.
See, I kind of took it as, I took it at face value, but I took it as one of those things like, oh, you're stinky, and now he's the stinky guy. One of those offhand comment, and you just embrace and roll with it, kind of.
There's that too. Speaking of that,
is how I read into them.
When she was interrogating Knot about Knot's first kiss, and Sam was like, oh, I don't remember his name. And she was poking at him. I think Sam just didn't have a name and couldn't think of one on the spot.
Yeah.
Because stringing together 3 letters, single syllable, consonant, vowel, consonant.
Okay, well, and that leads to the question of goblin society and romance. Because it doesn't seem like they'd be the type of race that would be inclined towards kissing or that kind of affection.
Very possible.
See, I was wondering if
which goes
she
back
didn't
to
want to say the halfling.
And that's where my mind in the moment was.
That's where my mind was. Was it the halfling and she doesn't want to mention this?
And it was the other goblins pressuring her to do it.
Yeah.
As some sort of torture mechanism for him.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how she fell in love with him.
Yeah.
So it could be that. It could also be that she has been cursed. she's been shape changed into a goblin, and that's why she wants Caleb to get true polymorph.
Yeah. I'm still not on board with that theory. I don't really see the founding for that.
Yeah, I think that's the stretch. I mean, we're both on board that she wants Caleb to have true polymorph.
Yes.
But the why is, yeah. So it was interesting to see a little bit of that. And then we have, and then it goes into the piracy, if my memory is correct in the timeline. I mean, we can just go through all of the interactions that you would have there, and jump around. So Ford and Caleb, we touched on it a little bit when we were talking about Ford and Caduceus and the foreshadowing therein.
Yeah.
But this one, to me, I had an epiphany about the way Travis plays Ford.
Right.
In that in that conversation alone, because we've been going back and forth. Does Ford just want to lead from the rear?
Yeah.
Does he have a confidence issue? Does why does he always push other people to the forefront?
Mm-hmm.
And in that conversation between Ford and Caleb, it all sort of crystallized with me, because there's a moment when Ford's character sheet flashes on the screen. There's Wisdom 7 right there.
Yep.
And I went, because when he played Grog, Travis always let everyone else come up with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And he would give input here and there, yes and no. And if it was crazy and involved him running in and hitting things, he always, that's my version. That's my favorite. With Ford, with that 7 wisdom, I think he, in a sense, is wise enough to know his limitations.
Okay.
But I think he plays Ford as not having the foresight to be a good leader, to not be able to understand the outcome of his ideas. So he is hesitant to put those. He's perfectly comfortable talking, especially if he can disguise himself and not be a half-orc. I think he's confident in his 18 charisma. And his 18 con, as we saw last episode when he breathed life into Jester. So I think when he says, in that conversation with Caleb, he says, "You're sharp. You notice things. You do the math." Like, he's pointing out all of the good things that Caleb does that makes him a good leader.
Right.
So in a way, Ford has come around to Knott's way of thinking.
Yeah.
In an odd way.
Yeah. Maybe not as devout in it, but
yeah.
And that's really a dangerous character build. High charisma, low wisdom. Because you can't see the consequences. You don't understand the consequences other than the here and now.
Yeah.
But you can talk your way in and out of things, and you can talk other people into doing things for you.
Yeah.
It's the child with the parent who just gives in all the time.
Yep. And the whole episode.
And okay, but
go ahead, finish your thought.
But the thing is, it's almost like, to me, it was almost like he's looking for someone so that he doesn't have to take responsibility for his actions. I know what you said and where you were just about to go.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, well, he's got this deal with Caleb to stop him if he gets out of line. He's got this deal with Bo to call him out. So he's no longer responsible for his actions because Bo and Caleb didn't stop me. And he's looking for a scapegoat for when he screws up.
And see, I think it was more, he was looking for anyone to tell him no.
Well, yeah, but this way
he wanted somebody to say no. Because everything, for Travis, Ford doesn't see the danger.
Right.
He only sees the potential to learn and the power.
But see, at this point in Ford's life, and I agree with you, but at this point in Ford's life, he has to know. He's smart enough that he knows that sometimes people react negatively to his actions. And he's smart enough to know if it's someone else's fault, they won't be mad at him. And but he's looking for someone to say...
If he's looking for that scapegoat, it's possible that his orphaness has been that scapegoat for him in the past.
Yeah, it is.
For himself. So, yeah, okay, maybe. But I genuinely feel that this episode, Ford was... Every person he talked to was like... The subtext of everything that he asked everybody in this episode was, please stop. Stop this train. And nobody did.
Right. That's where you took it. I took it as he was looking for permission by omission. Rather than, I give you permission to do this. Well, you didn't stop me, so technically I had permission. Is how I took it. And I think that's how Ford was. I think Travis was going at it from where you were coming from, but Ford was coming at it from where I'm coming from.
Well, and again, I think some of this comes down to the fact of, is he lawful good or not?
Yeah, and I'm convinced he's not.
Yeah. And I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. And the benefit of the doubt is he's looking for people to help him control these urges that he can't.
Okay. I mean, I can see that. I see your argument, and I think that's where Travis is coming from.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think that's Ford.
And I think Caleb is the only one that's doing that for him. When Caleb says, what part of this ends good when you release a large serpent on the Menagerie Coast?
But even then, he's still not saying, no, don't do this. It's kind of like that passive-aggressive comment.
Okay. Okay, yes. But he's the only one that's giving any pushback whatsoever.
No, I agree 100%. But Caleb also understands the willingness to do some harm to gain some power.
Yes.
And I think that's what he sees Ford doing.
And maybe Caleb is going along with this so that when it comes time for him to do his compromising things, he can throw this in Ford's face.
Exactly.
So there may be an element of that.
I think he's saying it, kind of that passively. Hey, think about the consequences. Okay, we're going to still do this? Great. Now, when I want to not think about the consequences, you got to side with me.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the same reason I think he gave the pair. He's subconsciously slipping back into that, but he's also consciously making sure he has the strings to pull to get done what he wants.
Okay, I see that. Now, one conversation that I added to your notes, was Bo and Caleb, and not so much a conversation as a series of interruptions and her total disregard for anything and everything coming out of his mouth. And I wanted to get your take on that. Because we've talked about their interactions, and they have come to blows in the past. Arguably, Caleb is closest with Bo, other than not.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He gave her Frumpkin. And she was really kind of shitting on him all episode.
Yeah. Initially I kind of took that as Liam and Marisha kind of pushing against each other, because honestly Caleb was just spouting random stuff for the most part. It didn't have anything really to do with the game. Okay. So I think like she did it the first time unintentionally, not trying to be, and so Liam's like, I'm just gonna play with this.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, I think it goes to that weird relationship they have, and that, you know, I respect you, but I don't like you. I know I need you here, but...
And Liam has said in the past that he likes it when Bo does that. He likes it when people shit on him because he thinks he deserves it.
Right.
So,
and
like, I don't think he's going to be mad about it.
I think that's why he's into fire, too. You know, the remembrance of that, of what he did to his parents, it's like that, you know, self-flagellation.
Yeah.
I'm sending myself into this as a form of self-punishment. And then from Bo's end, she stated some of the things he does is exactly like the people she rebelled against and why she rebelled. And so he's kind of a representative of that for her.
Yeah.
You know.
And see, I think this piracy arc, this episode, is really sort of putting her in danger. And she also had a moment when they were talking about tattoos that she was like, who cares what Molly thinks, he's dead. And the whole table was kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
I think she was just in a mood.
Yeah, I think so too, a little bit. Yeah.
And I think it has to do with the fact that I think Bo knows what they're doing is wrong. But she also wants to do it.
Yeah.
It's I think we're getting a picture of what Bo may have been like before she got sent off to the Cobalt.
Yeah.
So
okay, I can see that. You know, and that's a thing though, you know, what, 10, 15 episodes ago, everyone was profoundly affected by Molly's death and ready to do better and be better, and that went to shit right quick. You know, it's like thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
The D&D version.
Yeah. So yeah, the piracy, because that was a big part of the episode, and a lot of things sort of revolved around that. You said you had some thoughts on it.
Yeah. So okay, first off, they state, okay, first off, they need supplies, but they already established they don't need the supplies because we have two clerics with create food and water.
Yep.
So this is not a mission of necessity. This is a test of character that the DM has given them.
Well, and through Avantika, because she wants
it. Well, it's her test of, but it's test of character, test of what direction are you going to take this campaign? Where are we going, guys?
Yeah.
In that, and I think that comment that we have create food and water is one of the reasons he chose the two clerics to come up to the crow's nest with him.
Again, looking for someone to tell him no.
Looking for someone to tell him no, or to, you know, or to go ahead and give him permission absently.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think that one was more looking for a way out, a way, no, we don't need the supplies. And I think that's why he brought Caduceus up there, was to tell him no.
Yeah.
I think because it was Jester. She just had, you know.
Well,
because really, I mean, Bo would have been an equivalent choice to Jester. More likely to go with it, but she's got a...
I think Bo would have been gung-ho.
Eh.
She's willing to seduce Avantika.
But that's her wanting to seduce every woman they come across.
Yeah.
Other than the ogre.
I mean, and she made the comment later in the episode, you know, no tourism company could give this level of experience.
Yeah.
So I think she's just having fun. And if you're going to pretend to be a pirate,
you know,
you have to take a ship.
If I had wanted an actual council and I was in Ford's place, I would have taken Caduceus and Caleb. The insight guy and the intel guy.
Yeah.
And the look on Liam's face, I think he almost expected to be called up and was a little disappointed that he didn't get called up. Because, I mean, he even said, yeah, oh, okay. When she was like, bring 2 people, he was like, yeah, okay. After he said Caduceus and Jester. So they go up there. She says we need supplies. They've already established they don't need supplies. The supplies they need are covered.
Yep.
And both of them are just they're like, whoa, what do you think? Can we take this? Should we take this?
And Ivanka says, most things don't involve killing. Only if there's a hero.
Well, yes and no. It depends on where you draw the line at what killing is. Leaving people stranded at sea in a boat with no food or water, I would call equivalent to killing.
They didn't leave them with no food and water.
This time, but
yes.
That's because Ford was in charge of the mission.
The really horrible thing, though, from the standpoint of why did you take that? You didn't need it. Was the gold.
Yeah.
Well, that was the first thing.
Yeah.
Because that chest was hidden. She didn't have to bring anyone's attention to it.
Yeah.
She found the cargo manifest. Take the cargo. But that was the payroll for all those men.
Mm-hmm.
That was the pay for whatever they were going to buy in Marquette.
Supplies for the whole trip home.
Yeah. So, like that was strike number 1.
Yeah.
Against them. Then she finds the manifest. Caduceus discovers there's something magic aboard. They think it's a person that is the special cargo.
Right.
It's not the person's guarding the special cargo.
Yeah.
We have a confrontation. Ford almost goes down.
Yep.
They capture the guy. They call Knot over. Knot disarms the trap. Picks the lock. Open it. And as Matt describes what's in it, Liam knows exactly what it is.
Yeah. I know exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I was, oh, okay. And then they do the... they discover the guy doesn't know who paid him.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least he claims he doesn't know.
Right.
And that it was from Port Damali, which is point 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's someone in Port Damali who deals in magic artifacts. Because that's where that orb was auctioned.
Yeah. And
where Ford is from.
There's also a contact of the gentleman's there.
Mm-hmm.
Who had the cloven crystal.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on there. But one of the things that I
don't think was thought through by the players.
No. And also not thought through by the players, and I hope is true. Matt has given no indication of it. But that the paints were on their way to Gilmore.
Yeah, I had forgotten you brought it up at dinner, but yeah, Gilmore went back to Marquette.
Yeah.
And I would put money that that's who they were headed to.
Yeah. So, and maybe even Gilmore. Well, no, because they killed that guy, and he seemed to be a local in her story. But, and maybe it's just a wanting to connect campaign 2 to campaign 1.
Right.
But the timeline, it could be.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That was my thought on that. The jobs that they all took was a fun segment.
Yeah.
And gets into some of the mechanic stuff that I want to talk about, which is learning skills and tools. The book has a way to do it, but Matt
240 gold and that mentioned downtime.
Yeah. So, and Matt's basically giving it to them for free in a sense.
Yeah. Well, he said, Mark, that you've started to learn it. I think they're gonna have to go through it for a while before he actually.
Well, it's technically a month in training. It was a week to Uruk Hazel.
Okay.
14 days to Dark Toe, and it's gonna be 10 days at least back to Nicodranas or Port Damala.
Right.
So
if
that's
you count
be
Uruk Hazel going there, because it wasn't until they left there that he said, "Okay, well, what do you like to learn?"
But they were doing stuff on the boat.
They were doing stuff, and I might give them half credit for those days, but they weren't training with someone.
Yeah, and not. I was born to be a gunmaster.
Sam was just born to poke it, Allison.
In some ways, I kind of wish that Taliesin was still playing Percy, so that he could explain how the fireworks work, because he did an okay job. But cannon are different from guns, especially smoothbore cannon of the early variety.
Yeah.
It's a plug of powder that goes in, ram it down, and then wadding, usually in the form of hay, goes down the barrel. Ball, and then they puncture that bag, powder, and pour powder into the top. Or there's a match on the end of the thing, and you put the match into the powder. Matt got most of it right, but that was one of those things that it's like, that's not right, and I was just kind of
that was a Sam telling Taliesin how whiskey is made moment.
Yeah. But the misfire was hilarious. And I was thinking about it, and I don't know if it's something that I would do or not.
Okay.
But have everyone on a gun deck make con saves or take thunder damage. I mean, in some ways it makes sense, but in other ways it doesn't. I don't know. It's a thought that popped into my head just because to show the fatigue of battle, basically, is what was more where my mind went.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, it's neither here nor there. Matt didn't do it. Most game masters probably wouldn't do it, but it was just something that popped into my head. The Pirate King. I don't know if
Plank King.
Well, we have several minutes left, so let's save that for a little bit. I want to talk about some other stuff.
Okay.
The drowning animals. Matt didn't kill the weasel.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed he didn't kill the weasel. But as I was disappointed, I did the math, and I thought back, and I went, okay, technically it could have held its breath that long. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. With my new character in the Monday night game because my old character died, I got one random life event from Xanathars, and I was really disappointed when I got the "you have a riding horse" because I knew it wasn't long for this world with you as the DM. I'll probably just give it to Niobe and let her deal with it.
Beasts are gonna go after the pack animals. That's what they know.
Yeah. I don't fault you on it. I'm just saying.
So Ford's visions. Someone wanted to touch on because that happens before.
Yeah.
Dark Tale. When Matt was describing the vision, he described 3 large land masses, almost in a triangle.
Okay.
And I was like, that sounds like the continent.
Okay.
And they took it to be something that's on the map of the Menagerie Coast. How did you take it? Because I thought he was talking about Wild Mount, Taldore, and whatever that continent to the south of them is. Because Matt even made the long shape at the bottom, which is that shape of that continent at the bottom.
Yeah.
And they do vaguely make a triangle, and the Lucidian Ocean is the middle of that triangle.
Yeah, I didn't really take it one way or the other. I had both thoughts about the continent. I thought the continents. Then when they brought up islands, I was like, yeah, it could be that too. You know, I just kind of didn't think that much into the land masses.
Now I did a search.
Okay.
For the map of the coast, right, that they're using. And there is a trio of islands.
Okay.
Between Uruk Hazel, over here, and Darktoe, which is here.
Okay.
And I can't remember the name of them. I couldn't read it very well, but it's an archipelago.
Okay.
It's something archipelago. I think that might be where they need. If it's not the 3 continents and highlighting the importance of the Lucidian Ocean, if it is indeed islands within the Lucidian Ocean, I think it's those 3. It's that archipelago.
Okay.
And whether or not we see that this episode or next episode, well, we're going to find out one way or the other what Matt meant.
Yeah.
Speaking of that thing, what happened just before that with the Traveler appearing?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Speaking of visions and stuff, the Traveler comes to visit Jester because she has a new toy. Is it me, or is the creepy factor just getting bigger and bigger with this guy every time we see him?
I think as he gets closer to his goal, he gets a little creepier and a little closer to the Artigan that choked Vax.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my thought. We're leaning into that side of Hardigan.
Yeah.
Because Jester asks,
how do you make a boy fall in love with you?
And his instinct is first
enchantment,
is mind control, and second, find out what it is he loves and become the source of that. So trick him Pavlovian style into loving you.
Which gives you an insight into why he chose Jester.
It almost made me wonder if he's doing that to Jester and how she became his follower.
And he mentioned again, well, no, Laura Laura mentions, soon this year, and everyone else at the table was like, what?
Yeah,
and it's like, the solstice. If I understood the references correctly, it's the solstice.
Yeah, and I think it is. But the other side of that is, I almost wish, alignment was still a little more tied to some of the classes, like the clerics having to be within one step of their deity, because I'm pretty sure he's chaotic evil, or evil of some kind. And the only reason I say that is because of these creepy factors. I think he's moving more and more towards evil. I thought he was neutral for a long time.
See, I've always thought of him as, well, it becomes a question of, was Artigan's deal making aspect of Fey culture and not an alignment?
Yeah.
Or is there an aspect of lawfulness to his alignment?
Yeah. I could see that very much so.
But trickery gods tend to not be lawful.
Yeah.
Is the other side of that. So either we're wrong and it's not
devils tend to be lawful.
Yeah.
They're all about tricking.
So it could be lawful evil.
Yeah. But I don't know. He's at least got an evil bent to him, because that was just, but to me, it just reconfirmed through another piece of evidence for the Artican theory.
Yeah.
Because it goes, like you said, exactly to the choking out of Vax.
Yeah. We have a reminder, hey, Marius Lacroix is aboard.
Yeah.
And we saw earlier a reminder, Orly's aboard.
Yep.
And the guy that they spared has sort of taken the crew that they hired under his wing as freshly minted pirates.
Yeah.
And Matt, I think that was Matt trying to do another way of expressing the gravity of the situation that they found themselves in.
Yeah. So real quick, you mentioned Orly. Jumping back to the piracy, I know we're starting to get low. Probably the oddest piracy act ever.
The tattoo?
Well, first they're like, hey, we just need some stuff. We're all going to be cool. Let's be friends. And then Jester forces one of them to get a tattoo.
She brands somebody. Ritual scarification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that just was
and with a mark that she has made up for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, does she require his crew to end up getting that?
Who knows? Who knows?
And the other thing about the piracy that we didn't mention, Caduceus was the only one with the forethought to disguise himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Captain Tusktooth must be known.
I guess so.
And he says, if you knew me. If you've been on the sea and you knew me. So the Pirate King, the only thing that I had to talk about was, him IDing Bo as a snitch, because she's dressed as a Cobalt Soul Monk. And of all of them, she said, I hate organized crime and the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing was, timeline-wise, he took over 5 years after Vox Machina defeated Vecna.
Yep.
We know that Pike's ship has sailed the Lucidian Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Pike and Grog are very close.
Yep.
Grog, the only Goliath to grow a beard.
Mm-hmm.
And now this guy is sporting the hair of his defeated opponents.
Scalping the
I'm not saying that he has any connection to Grog other than hearing tales of the mighty Grog, Strongjaw, the bearded Goliath.
Well, and I'm sure, especially among Goliaths, his name started spreading well before, especially with
after claiming the Titanstone Knuckles.
Yeah. I'm sure that's when, at least among Goliathkin, his name started to spread.
Yeah. So that was
because if I remember right, that was one of the largest
herds. Yeah.
Herds. Yeah.
In my head canon, that's true. So until Matt,
it works for me. Until they specify otherwise on stream, we're going with that, folks. You heard it here first.
Yeah. So I also wanted to. We're running short on time, but I think
tattoos.
Oh yeah, well yes, the magic tattoos, the mechanics therein, I thought was an interesting take, upping attributes and resistances.
Do they stay pirates long enough for all of them to get a tattoo? That's probably the easiest
Yes.
way for them to collect what they need to get the tattoo.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah. So, getting into speculations.
Yeah.
And I personally don't like to use sources outside of the stream and Talks Machnia. But for what I want to talk about right now, I have to use the recent convention in London.
Okay.
Because Matt said, I don't know if this campaign's going to go to 20 or not.
Yeah.
If it gets to an ending point, we'll end it.
Yeah. Well, he said that on the talks that he and Marisha were on.
After they came back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he also said that in London. And I got a little panicky because a large part of the beginnings of this show was Tarask. That's the end.
Yeah.
We're going for it's going to be the Tarask. And Matt has been mentioning the Tarask a lot.
Yeah.
In interviews and everything.
I think the end goal is level 20 with the Tarask.
Okay.
However, if the story concludes before that, i.e., they've gone through all their arcs, they as characters aren't interested, which they are more likely to be disinterested in helping the world than, say, Vox Machina was.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, and Matt even mentioned it, the Chroma Conclave would have been a great place to end. But he had this story, and it was one the characters would want to go on.
Yeah.
They could wrap up everything in that kind of a sense, and he still got this Tarask story, but the characters don't care about it.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is in reference to.
Yeah.
Or a TPK.
Or TPK, yeah. I also wanted to give a shout out to Calista Flores on YouTube.
Yes.
Who now I set the episode to premiere because I thought I'd be available.
Okay.
And I wasn't. I got caught up with things at work and couldn't have it there.
Mm-hmm.
But she made a comment, and I did get to it. Well, it wasn't right away, but soon after she made it. But the invocations, because Matt mentioned invocations on the talks right after we ended our episode.
Yeah.
And I jokingly said, well, that's what happens when we go on before talks.
Yeah.
But she said the invocation that Matt gave her is proof that, could be proof that Avantika is a warlock.
Right. Which was my thought. It's 3 warlocks, one of each type, which I mentioned on the show.
Yeah. But much like I've done with my religious character, they've gotten a boon from a deity. Mm-hmm. So I think Matt set it up as an invocation simply as a means to slot it into the mechanics of the game.
Right. And well, like I mentioned when you mentioned this to me at dinner, it could be like the martial adept feat, where you get a couple of these things. That doesn't mean you're a battle master fighter. You just have a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So it could be a way to give someone outside it. Although I agree with you, Callista, because my inclination was that they are all warlocks, and I still think she's the Pact of the Tome, and there's someone out there that's the Pact of the Chain, which I think might be saving.
I have the Not There Fairy is something that we've jokingly adopted as well.
Yeah.
At our table. What do you think is going to happen with the pepper arrow?
Well, okay, it's a pepper arrow, and we know that, and the players know that. However, the characters believe it is
an explosive arrow. But does Matt do anything when not uses it? Will it blind somebody?
It might blind somebody. It might send them into a sneezing fit.
Yeah.
It will do nothing if they shoot it into a keg of gunpowder.
Yes.
Depends on if they fluff or nutter or not.
That's true. So, one of the things I was joking about at dinner or before dinner was Matt needed to give them an ally against Avantika
Yes.
and an out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what the next episode is going to be. Is them doing a little more research on the Plank King and deciding, okay, he's our way out. He wants to get rid of Avantika. We need to get rid of her so that Ford, either to allow Ford to pursue this as far as he wants without releasing the serpent, or to prevent the release of the serpent.
Okay. I see the Plank King as a way to cut ties with Avantika, but not necessarily. I think the determination of Ford being able to follow it as far as he wants without releasing the serpent or not releasing the serpent at all comes down to who gets the third eye first. If she gets it, he either doesn't follow the path and get any power from it, or...
So do you think his calculation is, I'll do this, get the reward, and then kill it, and become a legend?
No. I think his calculation is that he'll get to it first, because I think that I am right, and we mentioned it last week, he finally got Gift of the Depths.
Do you think that? Because that wasn't actually confirmed.
It wasn't confirmed, but then he can go under the water, breathing, get there first.
And the aid that Caduceus was mentioning in finding the thing was locate object,
right?
Of course,
yeah, the spell.
But that only has 1,000-foot range, and that was racking my brain because I was like, most of the ocean is going to be deeper than that.
Yes, but if he has Gift of the Depths, everyone can breathe water for 8 hours because he casts it once a day.
Yes. So, yeah, I think this next episode is them trying to get out from under Avantika, trying to get the mistake back under their control, and getting to the wreck first.
Yes.
And or finding out what those 3 landmasses are and getting there first.
I think that it's the Cloven Crystal, and I think that they try to slip out when the mistake is ready before she can. And the Squall Eater. They will have to get a substantial head start because if memory serves, the Squall Eater is a faster ship.
Slightly, yes. Because it can do 55 miles a day, and the mistake can do 40.
Okay, so yeah.
Or 44, something like that.
Something like that.
It's a long ship.
Regardless, they'll need the head start because the other ship is faster.
Yep. And with that, we're going to enjoy Danny subbing for Brian, talking to
Liam and Taliesin.
So we'll get more on the rap battle.
See you guys.